My mom and I are on the upper deck of the ferry, halfway between Maui and Lana'i, and there are humpback whales everywhere. Breaching, tail flapping. One came up so close to the boat, my mom grabbed my arm and we both just stood there with our mouths open. I remember thinking, this ferry ride might be the highlight of our day. Spoiler, it kind of was. And I say this as someone who's been to all 6 main Hawaiian islands. I love Hawaii deeply. But Lana'i, I'd put it last on my list. And I think that's actually useful information because a lot of travel content about Lana'i skips that part. Welcome back to Hawaii Travel Made Easy. I'm Marcie Cheung, and today we're talking about doing a day trip to Lana'i from Maui. The ferry, what to do once you're there, how to actually structure your day, what to eat, what to bring, and most importantly, whether this trip is actually right for you. Because it's not for everyone, and I would rather tell you that up front than have you spend a full day feeling like you made a mistake. If it's your first time on Maui, put Lana'i on the back burner. Rotohana, Haleakala, the West Maui coast, you have a full trip right there and you haven't even gotten to the beaches yet. Episode 47 is all about planning a Maui trip from scratch. Episode 31 covers the Rotohana, and episode 10 is Haleakala. Start there. Lana'i makes the most sense if you've already done Maui once or twice and want a day that feels genuinely different. Or if island hopping appeals to you but you don't really want to deal with flights, because this ferry is the only way to visit a second island without checking a bag and going through security. I have a full episode on island hopping, episode 9, if you want to think through that decision more. So here's the honest truth about Lana'i. It's quiet, it's small, and it doesn't feel like Hawaii the way the other islands do. Larry Ellison owns 98% of it. The whole island has about 3,000 people and 0 traffic lights. You can see it from West Maui on a clear day. It's that close. But when you get there, it has a completely different energy. I had a hard time finding Hawaiian culture there. The music, the warmth, the aloha spirit you feel everywhere in the other islands, it's just not as present on Lana'i in the same way. It feels more like a very beautiful, very remote company town. Which is actually interesting, but it's not what draws most people to Hawaii in the first place. My cousin actually got married there, stunning setting, but as a day trip destination, it's a vibe, not a bucket list. If you're a snorkeler, a hiker, a cat person, or someone who loves places that feel off the grid, you might love it. If you're coming to Hawaii for the culture and the feeling of the place, you might feel underwhelmed. The ferry is called the Expeditions Ferry, and then the first thing to know is that it no longer leaves from Lahaina Harbor. After the fires, everything moved to Maʻalaea Harbor. The address is 101 Maʻalaea Boat Harbor Road. If you accidentally drive to Lahaina looking for the ferry, you've missed your boat. Literally. Drive times to Maʻalaea are about 45 minutes from Ka'anapali, 30 from Wailea, 20 from Kihei. You'll need a car rental to get there. I always book through Discount Hawaii Car Rental because they compare all the major companies and consistently have the best rates. Link is at the Hawaii Resources tab on hawaiitravelwithkids.com. Parking at Maʻalaea is all paid parking, managed by Secure Parking. You can pay by QR code with your phone or at one of the 6 pay stations in the lot. It's near the Maui Ocean Center, which is easy to find. Just budget a little extra time and a few bucks for the day. For current prices, check go-lanai.com before you book. Rates went up in late 2024, and I don't want to quote you a number that's changed. The ferry has 3 round trips a day. Maui departs at 6:30 a.m., 11 a.m., and 3:30 p.m. The return from Lana'i is 8:30 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. Book a few weeks ahead, especially in the summer. The boat is small and the good departure times fill up. You want to get to the harbor 45 minutes before departure to check in and get in line. They stop boarding 10 minutes before departure, and the name on your reservation needs to match your ID exactly. On the boat, there's indoor air-conditioned seating and an outdoor upper deck. Get the outdoor seats. Sit on the right side if you can. During whale season, December through May, your chances of seeing humpbacks are really high, and that's the side where they tend to show up. My March trip with my mom was basically a free whale watching tour that happened to end on another island. One real caveat. My aunt got hit hard by motion sickness on a rough return trip. The morning crossing is usually smooth. The afternoon can get choppy. If you're at all prone to motion sickness, take something an hour before you board. Boning works well for me. Don't skip it and just hope for the best. Here are a few things worth packing that will save you stress. Bring a sweatshirt. The ferry deck is breezy, and Lānaʻi City, which is up at a higher elevation, is noticeably colder than the harbor. I was really glad I had one with me. Bring cash. Lana'i is a small island and not everything is card-friendly. It's better to have it and not need it. Bring snacks and water. There are limited food options on the island, and I'll get into that in a minute. The afternoon situation can be genuinely tricky. Pack something in your bag as insurance. If snorkeling at Hulopoʻe Beach is on your plan, you can bring your own gear or rent it through the Four Seasons if you're staying there. If you're just doing a day trip, bringing a mask and fins from home or from a rental shop on Maui is a smarter move than counting on renting on the island. And the motion sickness meds, already mentioned, but worth repeating. Take them before you leave, not after you start feeling bad. So most people take the 11 a.m. ferry from Maʻalaea, which gets you to Maʻalaea Harbor around 12:10 p.m., and return on the 5:30 p.m. from Lana'i, which gets you back to Maui around 6:40 p.m. That's your working window, roughly 5.5 hours on the island. If you want more time, especially if a 4x4 tour is in your plans, seriously consider the 6:30 a.m. ferry. You'll arrive around 7:40 a.m., which gives you nearly a full 10 hours. The early morning is gorgeous on the island before it gets warm, and you'll beat any other day trippers who come over on the later boat. The trade-off is a very early morning and the drive to Maʻalaea before sunrise if you're coming from Ka'anapali. For the 11 a.m. crowd, here's roughly how a day flows. When you dock at Maʻalaea, your first decision is whether you want to head up to Lānaʻi City first for lunch before things close, or walk straight to Hulopoʻe Beach and deal with food later. I'd recommend the city first if you want to eat. The window for finding something open narrows fast in the afternoon, and being hungry on the 5:30 p.m. ferry back is not fun. Taxi up to the city, eat, walk around Dole Park, and then come back down for the beach and the beach area activities in the afternoon. If your priority is snorkeling and beach time, go straight to Hulopoʻe first and get your hours in on the water, but have a plan for food. Either way, give yourself 30 to 45 minutes to get back to Maʻalaea Harbor before the ferry. Don't cut it close. There's no Uber, and taxis on the island are limited. When you dock at Maʻalaea Harbor, Hulopoʻe Beach is a 10-minute walk. It's a genuinely beautiful beach. It's a super beautiful beach, good snorkeling, clean water, public restrooms, right next to the Four Seasons. A lot of people I rode over with just walked straight there, and that was their whole day. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a lovely beach. If you want a little adventure without needing a car, Sweetheart Rock, officially Pu'upehe, is a short coastal trail that starts at the western end of Hulopoʻe Beach, less than a mile each way, and the views along the South Shore cliffs are dramatic and beautiful. That's the best no-car option near the harbor. To really see the island, you need a 4x4. The interesting stuff, Garden of the Gods with its wild red and orange rock formations, Shipwreck Beach on the North Shore, the backcountry roads, it all requires unpaved roads that you can't do in a regular rental. If you only have one day, book a guided 4x4 tour before you arrive. You'll cover far more ground and someone else handles the navigation on roads with no signs. I also walked around the Four Seasons property near Maʻalaea. It's stunning and open to the public, and it's worth a stroll. The cat sanctuary deserves its own mention because, for a lot of visitors, it's the entire reason they make the trip. Over 600 rescued cats, no reservations needed, free to visit. It's a nonprofit. The cats really enjoy attention, and friends of mine who've gone absolutely rave about it. There's a shuttle from the ferry terminal. Just know it's a separate trip from the harbor. You can't walk there. Lānaʻi City is about 20 minutes from the harbor by taxi. It's small, basically one block of shops and restaurants around a big park full of towering cook pine trees. What's new and totally fun, Lana'i Bowl, a 4-lane retro bowling alley and diner right in Dole Park. It's a 1950s throwback with a soda fountain bar, local food, burgers, pizza, the kind of place you never expect to find on this tiny island, which is exactly what makes it charming. Just check their hours before you plan around it because it's only open Wednesday through Sunday in the afternoons. If you're visiting on a Monday or Tuesday, that's not an option. So my mom and I had a really frustrating time trying to find lunch in the early afternoon on Lana'i. This is a small island with limited restaurants and hours that don't always match what you'd expect. Several places close mid-afternoon, and if you show up at 2 p.m. looking for a meal in Lana'i City, your options may be slim to none. For breakfast and an early lunch, Blue Ginger Cafe is a classic local spot. Casual, good food, and where most people end up. Coffee Works is the best option for coffee and a light bite before heading out for the day. Ganotisi's Pacific Rim cuisine gets a consistent praise for local food and a diverse menu. But look up current hours before you go because things can change on an island. And pack snacks in your bag just in case. Future you will be thankful. Now, if the main reason you want to visit Lana'i is a snorkeling or diving, specifically the famous Cathedrals, which are these incredible underwater lava tube caverns off Lana'i's south coast, Here's something worth knowing. You don't actually need the ferry to experience them. The Cathedrals dive tours depart directly from Maui. Multiple operators run boats out of there, and the trip across the channel takes about 45 minutes. Certified divers go inside the caves. Snorkelers are welcome on some of the boats to explore the surrounding reef. So if the underwater experience is what you're after, you can have an incredible Lana'i ocean day without the ferry logistics at all. That's worth factoring into your decision about whether the ferry trip makes sense for you personally. So, is this trip good for families? Well, I did this trip with my mom, not my kids, so I want to be upfront about that. But here's my honest read. Lana'i can work with kids, it just requires more planning than a typical Maui day. Hulopoʻe Beach is great for families. There's calm water, it's beautiful, there's restrooms, and it's relatively easy. The cat sanctuary is an absolute hit with kids. And the ferry ride itself, especially if you see whales, is one of those moments kids talk about for a long time. What makes it harder with young kids is the logistics. There's no Uber or Lyft. Taxis need to be arranged in advance. Food options are limited, and the afternoon timing issue becomes more stressful with hungry kids who need to be somewhere on time for the ferry. If you're traveling with little ones, I'd plan this as a beach and cat sanctuary day, eat lunch early, and give yourself extra buffer time to get back to the harbor. Don't try to squeeze in Lana'i City and a 4x4 tour on top of all that, unless you have a very easygoing crew. So, is it worth doing? For the right person, yes. If you've already done Maui a couple of times and want a day that feels completely different, Lana'i delivers that. The ferry during whale season alone is memorable. And there's a stillness on that island, an off-the-grid feeling that you just can't find on Maui or Oahu anymore. But go in with honest expectations. It's not a packed activity day. It doesn't have the aloha spirit of the other islands in the same way. The food situation requires planning, and if the main draw for you is the snorkeling, you may not even need the ferry at all. For all my favorite resources, discount Hawaii car rental, snorkel and dive tours, Maui planning guides, and everything else I mentioned on the show, it's all at the Hawaii Resources tab on hawaiitravelwithkids.com. I keep that page up to date so you have one place to go instead of hunting around. And if you're building out your Maui trip and want someone to look it over, does Lana'i fit your specific trip? Where should the days go? What are you missing? That's exactly what I do in my travel consultations. You can book at hawaiitravelwithkids.com under Hawaii Travel Consultant. A lot of people come to me after they've already put something together and just want a gut check before they hit confirm on everything. I'm happy to be that second set of eyes. Thanks so much for listening. See you Wednesday. Mahalo.